Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. I am sitting down and excited to film my first update for the Pan Those Eyeshadows Project Pan that I am doing this year, 2023. Pan Those Eyeshadows was started by Alexi Shostin. I'll have her channel linked down below in the description box. I am doing this project the way that Alexi intended, which is I'm going to be randomly selecting a eyeshadow palette and then I will be hand picking the shade in which I want to hit pan in. How I'm doing my randomization is I did load all of my palettes onto the Tiny Decisions app. It's like a little wheel app. The nice thing about this is you can, if you have all of your palettes listed on a spreadsheet, you can import them onto this. You don't have to like hand type everything, which is nice. I don't think I ever went over like my actual rules, and these are rules that I thought of after I had filmed the video. I just kind of wanted to like put them down somewhere. The formal rules are my Tiny Decisions app is going to be randomly selecting the palettes that I have. I have also included like my singles brands. So if I have Depotted my Juvia's Place, I have Juvia's Place singles as an option. I have my Colourpop singles as an option. I have Looksy Beauty. All of the singles, I have them in there as like a category. So I have a chance of wanting to or getting to use singles also in this project based on like the brand, since they don't have necessarily a palette, or some of them did have a palette, but those palettes have long since been depotted and broken apart and put elsewhere into my collection. So I do have brands like that listed on my Tiny Decisions app, so I will have an element of using my singles as well. At this time, I am only going to be using 4 eyeshadows within this project. Now, I do find the right and liberty to change that if I so desire. So I can bring that up to 5. I could bring it up to 6 if I wanted to. I could bring it down to 3 or lower. It really just depends on how I am feeling in this project. If I'm feeling overwhelmed or if I'm feeling like it's not enough of a challenge, I'm willing and able to change the quantity of eyeshadows in this project. Palettes and single shadows by brand will be loaded into the Tiny Decisions app. Kind of touched on that before. So I have my palettes and single brands all have a weight of 1 to start, giving them all an equal opportunity to get rolled into this project. When a palette or a single is in the project, or like the single brand is in this project, the weight will get reduced back to 0. So I can't have 2 of the same brand or palette in at the same time. So I'm going to be spreading the love throughout my collection. However, once the shade is hit or the palette rolls out of this project, I am going to change the weight back to 1. That way it has another opportunity to be shown some more love and appreciation through this project. I did make a rule where if I hit a pan at all in the palette, I am going to let myself have the option if I want to move on from that palette or if I want to continue to work on the shade. If I do hit a bonus pan, I will give myself the opportunity to roll the palette out, just to, again, keep this project a little bit more fun and inspiring to me. And I also am allowed to move palettes and items out of this project as I feel like it. Let me just go over the palettes and the items that were in for my introduction roll. So I'll have some clips go up of the palettes when I first rolled them in. Unfortunately, I did not take like standalone shots, so they are going to be screen grabbed from my last video. I don't have any good like visualization, but I will change that for next time. I was kind of just getting back into the swing of things. I wasn't fully on my A game with taking pictures and videos and tracking this month. I'm going to be very honest with you. So my usage is going to look low. My palette footage is going to look not so good, but I am going to make some conscious changes for the future of this project. So I'll take videos, I'll take pictures, I'll do all the good YouTuber kind of things. I will make sure that that's done moving forward. All right, so I have my palettes laid out in front of me, and I have a small amount of usage tallied for all of these guys, so we'll just get right into chatting about these things. The first palette that was rolled for me was my Kaleidos Futurism 1, the Sci-Fi Green palette. This is truly one of my absolute favorite palettes. I'll have a clip of what this was looking like last month. I didn't reach for this a whole heck of a lot. Now, I will say this was something that was really inspiring to me as I was using my Subculture palette. The shades that were remaining in there definitely inspired me to use this more, as well as if you did miss it, I did film a 3 looks 1 palette using this palette, and this is what the palette is looking like now. So my hope is to get pan in the shade here, Glamora, that very beautiful olivey tone. However, we did not get there. I don't know if you'll really be able to see, but there is a tiny bit of a dip. When I look at it, there's no dip. Let me take all of that back. There's no dip in this. There's like, it's evenly worn away, which is why I'm like, oh no, there's a dip. It's just like very lightly, like evenly worn out. This is going to take a good while for me to hit my goal in. The second palette that we rolled in was the Druid palette. So I'll have a clip of the Druid palette go up right now. The shade that I decided to pull in for this one is the beautiful, beautiful like copper bronze shade in this palette. Not a shade that I gravitate towards all too often. This time of year was perfect for it because I was really gravitating towards those kinds of shades. And this is what that shade is looking like today. Hopefully you can see a smidge of a dip in there. I've been using my finger with this, which is not my normal method of application for shimmers. I typically am like a brush through and through kind of gal, but I have been using my finger with this one. I'm kind of annoyed because in my introduction video, I was like, maybe I'll pick this one. And then I was like, that's probably too hard. And I fell in love with this shade here. So part of me wants to switch it and like move to this shade, but I'm like, I don't think that I would struggle reaching for this one now. Whereas this one, I kind of want to see it hit pan in because I don't gravitate towards those kinds of shades too often, but I do think that they go really well with like, I can do a really colorful like outer corner and then blend it into something like this to make it a little bit more everyday and wearable. That is those two shades together. I have Glamora on top with Bare Form underneath. A palette I was actually unbelievably thrilled got rolled into this project is this guy here. This is a newer palette to my collection. This is by Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the All I Ever Wanted palette. So I'll have a clip of it go up from my last update, or my introduction. And I was working on the shade Sphinx, which is such a stunning, like, peach base with like this intense blue metallic flip to it. It is absolutely stunning. Stunning. And it is one of those more putty-like formulas, so I was actually able to hit pan in it within the past month. It was something that was a little bit more sheer to work with, so when I wanted to really make it impactful, I really applied quite a bit on. I ended up using my finger for the most part with this shade, and then I switched to a brush, and the brush is what got me that lovely, lovely pan expansion that I do seem to have in this shade. And I'm like looking at it, this palette just looks used to me. It looks, maybe it doesn't look so far like that far up, but it really looks like I've used each shade in this palette, which really makes me happy. So that is Sphinx swatched out. Very bottom, you can see that really beautiful peach to like bright, liney, minty shift that guy has. Absolutely stunning color, was an actual joy to wear. Really loved it with like pink looks. I would do that on the inner like half of the lid and it looked honestly just so incredible. The last palette we have to talk about is this guy here. This is my Morphe and Sour Patch Kids. They did this a couple years ago. Josh got me this for my birthday. He got me the whole Sour Patch collection, which was really, really sweet of him. He knows I love Sour Patch Kids. This is the Sour Then Sweet palette, and I ended up rolling in a shade that I was like, it's gonna probably be easy. The palette was virtually untouched. I maybe used it a handful of times, however, really not at all. And this is what that palette, and especially White Pineapple, is looking like today. Some usage in it, nothing too crazy. I can very, very barely make out that there is like the tiniest little dip forming, and I mean like the tiniest right now. Like it is, looks like I barely have even touched it. Looks like I don't even use it. The mattes in this palette are super, super soft, so they're just really buttery. Like honestly, unlike any of the Morphe palettes that I have personally tried, which I don't buy from Morphe any longer, but this is probably the softest matte formula that I've tried from them, the butteriest. And I really, really like the formulation in this palette. Now, the shimmers were something that I kind of was like meh about, but now I actually love them. Like, I am wearing a little bit of Major Mood on my lower lash line. You literally won't be able to tell. But I do have this guy here, which is Sugar Crush, as my inner corner. And I think it looks really beautiful with this pink look. So I am really here for it. Now that we've kind of addressed and gone over all of my prior roll-ins, we get to roll in an item for the All I Ever Wanted shade, this guy here. We're going to roll in a new shade to replace that one now. So I do have my Tiny Decisions wheel up and I have my palettes up. So let me just click on this guy a few times. Ooh, I'm excited about this one actually. I'm like quite excited about this. If you have not seen this palette before, this is the Kaleido Sashimi City palette. This is the Futurism 7. This was sent to me from Haley. Thank you very much, Haley. I really appreciate this. I love this palette so much. Don't use it enough. Common theme amongst my palettes. But I am excited that this is getting rolled in. Now, this is what my Sashimi City palette is looking like. Super beautiful. Super, super stunning. Like, hopefully you can see the shift in those shades via this mirror action. But I'm definitely torn between Penthouse, Pink Ginger, and Salmon Skyline. But I think I'm going to be a creature of habit, and I am going to pick this shade Penthouse. I mostly think that this is going to go really well with Glamora. Well, and the Bard palette one. So let me just clean my swatches off and then I will share with you the new color story. All right, so this is going to be what my new color story looks like. Not a whole lot different. Obviously, we swapped a pink for just like this beautiful, like super light reflective shade. Really great as a topper, really great by itself. Can definitely use this as an inner corner. I can use it with both of these shades and get like some beautiful looks. But I am very excited and happy about my color story. These just like scream, well, like this is whatever. But like this, and this just like really personify my grungy fall dreams in colors for me. So I'm super, super excited to get some use in these shades. That is it for my Pan Those Eyeshadows Project Pan update. That is it for this video. Let me know if you are doing Pan Those eyeshadows. Let me know if you are doing it in a similar style, how Alexi initially created it, or if you're doing it an adapted version that either you or maybe you saw someone else do. I would love to know in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite shade, but I would love to know any feedback, any thoughts, any suggestions. Maybe you want to see a 3 looks 1 palette with any of these palettes. I have one in the works already coming soon. You'll have to stay tuned next week for that video, but that is absolutely everything that I have today to share with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!
Why were you laying in the snow? Why?